All right, we're rocking a crazy bun again where it looks like I'm balding, but hey, it is what it is, and we're gonna just go with it. Hi, welcome. And although I am getting annoyed that it keeps sticking up. Okay, so yesterday or the day previous, whenever you were with me last, we talked about what a function is and we practiced stating whether something was a function or not. This lesson is all about actually evaluating functions, so solving them when I give you different inputs and outputs. So today we're going to see something that looks like this, or you might see a different letter here in the front, like a G. Now, how do we say it? We say it as f of x. Now, what does f of x mean? It means that a function named f, so the letter in front tells you what the name of the function is, has x as an input. So my function of f has x, and x is my input number. So if I tell you x equals 5, that is the input. That 5 is what I'm going to put into my function f. It does not mean f times x. Again, it means that f is my function and x is the thing I'm putting into my function. Okay, so we're going to practice evaluating these where I'll kind of, I'll do one and then I'll try you to, I'll see if you can do one, and then we'll kind of go back and forth here. So we have a table where my x's, my inputs are on the left, and my outputs are on my right. So this is like I put a -1 into my function, out comes a 3. That is what my function equals. Again, f of x is the name of my whole function, so my function equals 3. So what is the output when the input is 0? So when my input is 0, my output is 5. So the answer is just 5. What is the input? So what is my x when my output is 7? Go ahead and see if you can do that. I'm going to just wait silently for about 10 seconds. What is the input? What is the blue column when the output was 7? The answer is 1. So when my output was 7, the input was 1. Now we have what is x when f of x equals 9. So again, f of x is my whole function. That is the output. My whole function equals 9. What is x? 2. So I found when f of x was 9 was right here. X was 2. Go ahead and see if you can do this one. What is x when f of x equals 5? Alrighty, so I think next time I'm going to pause myself. It's really weird just like waiting silently. So what is x when f of x equals 5? F of x equals 5 right here, and x was 0. Okay, now we have what is f of x when x equals -1? Go ahead and see if you can figure that out. So what is your output? What is f of x when we use -1 for x? All right, so what is f of x when x was -1? X was -1, f of x is 3. Now this is the new, I think this is the trickiest formatting that you'll see. So we would read this as, what is f of -1? Now from up here, I told you that this means our function named x has an input of has an input of x. Our function named f has an input of x. So whatever is here in the parentheses is what we're supposed to input. So for here, this is my function f with an input of -1. So input of -1, my output was 3. So again, when you have this number inside of the parentheses, that means that -1 is the input of my function f. So now, what is the output when your input is 2? Go ahead and figure that out. What is the output when your input was 2? And hopefully you got 9. So our input, remember f of 2 is how you would say this. So it is, what is my function when my input is 2? Think we put the 2 in parentheses, so we're going to put the 2 into the function. 2, my output is then 9. Great. Make sure you have that down. If you are stuck, just let me know. In class, we're going to do some Pear Deck practice. You are obviously not going to do that, but if you need more practice, just reach out to me and I'm happy to help. Next, we're going to look at evaluating graphs. So we just spent some time doing the table, and in our independent practice, you will do that as well. That's how you will start. All right, so graphing. So it's important to remember that on a graph, this flat line here, highlighted in blue, is our x-axis, right? Think x folds flat. That is my x-axis. Think f of x up here. F of x and y are like the same, are very, very similar. F of x and y and output are kind of all like synonyms of each other. They mean the same thing. I always learned like y-axis like makes a vertical line if you fold your y ends together. So we have, what is the output? What is your y? What is your f of x when your input is 0? So on my x-axis, because again, x values are down here and these are my inputs, I'm going to go ahead and write in here too. So these are your inputs down here. These are your outputs up top. Oh my goodness. Okay, so inputs on this axis. So my input is 0. What is my output? So on your x-axis, your input is 0 right here. So right in the middle, this is where y equals 0 and x equals 0. So when x is 0, what is my output? What is my y? So from here, I'm going to go up or down until it crosses my graph. So here, I'm going to go up, and it crosses right here. So that means my output was 2. So again, I found this number on the x-axis, because that is my input. 0 is right here. And then I moved up to see where it crossed my line, and that was at 2. Okay. The next one you have, what is the output? So what is the y when your input is 5? So you're going to go to 5 on your input, move up, and see what is your y value there. Go ahead and give that a try. All right, hopefully you paused me. So when your input is 5, my output was 3. Okay, now we're going to flip it around. What is the input? What input gives us an output of 6? So an output, or a f of x, or my y, my function here, it equals 6. It is the thing I'm putting out. So 6 here, what is my input? So now I move left and right. So if I give you your y, if I give you your output to find your x, you move left and right. If I give you your x value and ask for y, you then move up or down until it crosses. So here I'm going to go to 6 on my output and now move left or right. And it crosses my graph right here at -4. So again, an output of 6, so I find 6 here on my green line on my output. And now I figure out at what x value does my graph hit. So I can see my graph over here, and that number was at -4. Okay, go ahead and pause me, and I want you to try this next one. So what is the input when you have an output of 5? So again, find 5 on this green axis. What is your input? What is the number on the blue line? All right. So when your output was 5, so on your y-axis, we're right here, what was the input? And we cross our graph right here at -3. Okay, let's keep rolling. Now we have what is f of x when x equals 3. So again, I'm now saying what is our x, I'm saying what our blue line is. So it is 3, which is right here. I want to know what is f of x, what is my green line. So I'm going to move up, and it crosses here at 1. So 1 is my answer. See if you can pause me and figure out this next one. What is f of x, what is my green line, when x equals -2? So right here, what is your y value when x equals -2? Pause me now and see if you can do it. Okay, so when x was -2, we go up, 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 and my y was at 4. All right, 2 more variations left. We have what is f of 5. So again, for this one, okay, f of 5. What is my function when my input is 5? That's what this means. Again, 5, the number inside is the input into my function. So this is asking me for your output when 5 is x. So I'm going to find 5 on my blue axis. That's why it's blue. I'm going to find 5 on my blue, which is right here. And my function equaled 3. Again, if you're given the blue one, find it, and then you move up, and it's 3. Pause me and see if you can find f of -1. Okay, so we're inputting a -1. So on my inputs, I'm at -1 right here. My output was 3. Okay, keep on rolling here. What is x when f of x equals 5? So when f of x, that's my green one, when that equaled 5, what is x? So again, now I'm going to move left or right from here. And my x value was -3. All right, now last one, what is x? So again, you're given your green one. What is x when f of x is 6? So find when f of x equals 6, and then follow that over left or right and tell me what the x value is here. Pause me and do that. All right, so when f of x equals 6, that's right up here. It crosses my graph here, so my x value was -4. All right, if you need any help in any way, just let me know, and I'll be happy to work through more of these with you. You may now move on to independent practice. So you have a table here, which it's just flipped sideways. So your inputs are now up top, and your outputs are bottom. So what is f of x when x equals 0? Well, x equals 0 right here. Your output was -1. Okay? So just pay attention to the fact that it's flipped. Shouldn't be too much of a big deal. Then you have a graphing problem, and then you have some more work with a table down here. Again, this just tells you what one to look at. So if you see an F in front of this, you're ignoring this column, okay? And you're just looking at these two. If there's a G in front of it, ignore this green column and just look at this G of x, okay? The letter in front of it tells you which column to focus on. Let me know if you have questions and send me a message when you're done.